Welcome back to The Explainer. So today we're going to look at something that honestly, you probably spend a massive chunk of your life in, but, rarely stop to actually analyze: the office. But listen, we aren't just talking about a generic room with a few desks, a flickering fluorescent light, and a sad coffee machine today. No way! We're going to reframe the office as a dynamic, living system. We're going to explore how it actually functions as the very engine that drives a business forward, taking raw data and turning it into actionable success. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive right in. The concept of an office goes way back in human history. The word itself actually popped up in English around 1395, coming from the old Latin word officium. But what's truly fascinating is that back then, it didn't mean a specific room. Actually, scratch that. It didn't mean a physical building at all. It just referred to a staff, a duty, or a formal position. Fast forward to today, and that definition is completely transformed. Today, an office is, essentially, an information processing unit. It's the central hub that allows responsible authorities to make sound, calculated decisions so an organization can hit its ultimate goals.
Here's a quick roadmap for how we're going to break down this anatomy today. First, we'll look at the concept. Second, the physical blueprint. Third, the operating system. Fourth, the modern toolkit. And finally, we'll map out the different office ecosystems.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the concept, its meaning and evolution. It's absolutely crucial to realize that advances in science, tech, and global communication have completely redefined what a workspace even is. It's built on highly scientific principles of management now. Author James Stevenson hit the nail on the head when he said, "Office is that part of the business undertaking which is dedicated to the heading and coordination of its different exercises." It's just a brilliant distillation. Because regardless of whether your office is just a tiny seat in the corner of a scrappy startup or a massive, sprawling corporate campus, it acts as the true brain of the business, coordinating every single moving part to keep the whole organism alive.
Moving right along to Section 2, the physical blueprint, focusing on location and layout.
So we've established the brain of the operation, now let's build out the physical skeleton. Where an office is built forms the absolute foundation of the whole organization. And picking a location isn't just some basic real estate transaction where you're checking the price per square foot. There are major factors at play here. Sure, you need sufficient space, but you also need proximity to other integrated departments, reliable transport for your team, and access to service facilities like banking and high-speed internet. Plus, you absolutely need a healthy environment. Being free from dust, industrial fumes, and disruptive noise, that's not just a nice-to-have perk. This physical placement deeply affects daily job satisfaction, the ability to do focused, deep work, and overall work-life balance. And that directly drives employee retention.
Okay, so once you've secured the perfect location, you need the right internal layout. By definition, office layout is the systematic arrangement of equipment, machines, and furniture to provide adequate space for efficient, regular performance. Think of it as the literal blueprint of the floor plan. It's like a giant puzzle, and the onus here lies heavily on the office manager. Their crucial task is to arrange this space to actively prevent wasted time and energy. Think about it. If the printer is a 5-minute walk from the accounting desk, that's just wasted energy. A really strong layout ensures a steady, logical workflow and allows for easy, natural supervision without managers having to constantly micromanage. When they're designing that floor plan, managers usually have to choose between two main strategies: process layout versus group layout. In a process layout, you arrange the desks and equipment in the sequential order of the activities. It's almost like a highly specialized assembly line of information, where a document physically moves down the line from desk to desk. On the flip side, in a group layout, you place employees doing similar activities together in a dedicated area. So you put all the graphic designers in one pod and all the accountants in another. Highlighting this strategic difference is key because grouping by sequence versus grouping by similar tasks completely changes how your teams collaborate, how they're supervised, and how the work organically flows across the room.
Which brings us to Section 3, the operating system, procedures, and roles.
All right, so we've got the physical building and the desks are perfectly placed. But what keeps the office from just descending into utter chaos? Well, it's the invisible rules, the operating system of the workplace. Procedures are simply the formal processes an organization uses to collect information for decision-making. And when you look at their importance, it's pretty clear what they achieve. They ensure overarching efficiency, allow for standardized training of new staff, guarantee consistency, and instill a baseline of discipline. But most importantly, strong procedures actually reduce operational costs, errors, and even internal fraud. They're the essential guardrails ensuring absolute professionalism across the board.
And what do all these procedures ultimately support? Well, it boils down to two core functions: every single procedure exists to serve these two things: making choices and sharing the data required to make those choices. First, you have decision-making, which includes the planning, organizing, and coordinating of the whole business. And second, providing information. This means data flowing inwards to internal departments and outwards to external entities like your customers, partners, and investors.
To execute those functions seamlessly, the company office basically takes on a dual personality. It's kind of wild. On one hand, you have the contributory role. This is all about fundamental support, assisting subunits, accurately transmitting top-down decisions, and meticulously maintaining historical records. But simultaneously, the office plays a vigilant role. This means maintaining strict discipline, ensuring everyone adheres to the rules, and handling rigid budgetary control. It's a fascinating dynamic, right? The office supports and empowers its workers, while at the exact same time keeping a watchful, rule-keeping eye on the entire operation.
All right, on to Section 4, the modern toolkit, the equipment and skills we actually use.
So, it's time to shift our focus down to the individual level. We've seen the macro organization, but what are the literal tools needed for an employee to survive and thrive every single day? Essential office equipment obviously covers your paper-related items like printers and shredders, robust computers for data entry, and, for sure, high-speed internet so you can actually get your tasks done. But I want to highlight one specific tool here that gets overlooked: furniture. Picking the right office furniture, like a great ergonomic chair or a standing desk, isn't just about interior design. Proper furniture directly contributes to your physical efficiency, and it actively fosters a positive, focused attitude while you work. It's a real game changer.
But look, physical tools are really only half the equation. Let me ask you directly, what do you think are the 4 essential human skills required for office survival today? Just think about your own daily routine for a second. What intangible tools are you relying on to get through your workload, interact with your team, and actually deliver results?
It all boils down to these 4. Number 1, communication, both written and oral, which heavily includes the art of negotiation. 2, management, particularly self-management of your own time and priorities. 3, problem solving, involving group brainstorming and seamless coordination. And 4, computer skills, mastering specific software, and crucially, being a quick learner when new tech drops. And this brilliantly illustrates a core truth. The most expensive, high-end ergonomic furniture and the absolute fastest computers are completely useless without these 4 intangible human skills actively driving them.
And finally, Section 5, office ecosystems, the different types. Now we're going to bring all these concepts together. How do location, layout, procedures, and tools combine to create distinct modern work habitats? Today, there's just an incredible variety of office types tailored to specific needs. You've got the traditional office with highly private areas, still super common in places like law firms. But look at the cultural shifts happening beyond that. The creative office focuses heavily on teamwork with way fewer physical barriers. Co-working spaces offer highly flexible communal environments that are perfect for bootstrapping startups. You also have private lockable spaces within shared facilities and executive suites that act as fully furnished turnkey sublets. For scaling companies, there are contiguous suites spanning multiple floors and massive enterprise suites custom-built for large teams. Walking through all this, it's so clear how models like creative and co-working spaces reflect a massive modern shift. We're seeing a huge growing interest in open collaboration and flatter corporate structures where the traditional walls are literally coming down.
So we arrive at our final thought. With open offices, co-working, and these highly collaborative spaces clearly on the rise, what type of office layout best suits your unique communication and management skills? Just think about the anatomy we explored today. Do you thrive in the structured privacy of a traditional setup, or do you feed off the dynamic energy of a co-working space? Keep that provocative thought in mind the next time you walk into your workspace. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.